Every 30 seconds, someone is involuntarily committed to a psychiatric institution. Every year, 1 million people are electroshocked. And worldwide, 120 million people are now prescribed psychotropic drugs, 20 million of which are children. Each year, the psychiatric pharmaceutical industry rakes in $320 billion. Yet according to official psychiatric bodies, it cannot lay claim to a single cure. But investigating and exposing psychiatry's inhumane and often lethal practices and defending the rights of its victims is the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. It all began in 1969 with the case of one Victor Ghiori. He had been unlawfully incarcerated in a mental institution for babbling incoherently. But in fact, he was merely speaking his native tongue, Hungarian. Securing Ghiori's release was the first of thousands of cases championed by CCHR. In Australia, CCHR exposed a deadly psychiatric practice called deep sleep therapy, wherein patients were placed in a drugged coma and electroshocked. Not only was it done without their consent, 48 patients died during the treatment. CCHR fought on behalf of victims until the hospital was shut down and many were compensated and deep sleep banned. Then, in South Africa, CCHR uncovered the existence of psychiatric camps where tens of thousands of Africans were brutalized and used as slave labor. Subsequently, the World Health Organization and post-apartheid government investigations condemned psychiatry's racism and abuse. In Italy, CCHR worked in tandem with legislators and the media to conduct raids on psychiatric hospitals, laying bare their barbaric conditions. CCHR got them shut down and furthered the cause for humane treatment of patients. Then again in Japan, CCHR exposed patient abuse in the financial crimes of psychiatrists and hospitals, defrauding the government and taxpayers out of millions. The guilty were convicted and patient protections implemented. While in the United States, CCHR uncovered $1 billion fraud in the nation's largest chain of for-profit mental health facilities. Dozens of prosecutions ensued, with millions of dollars in fines imposed, and the entire chain of corrupt hospitals was closed. CCHR not only exposes and ensures thousands of abusive psychiatric facilities are shut down, but also that patient rights are restored. While for the thousands of psychiatrists who have committed crimes, CCHR has ensured that they have been prosecuted, fined, or had their licenses revoked. To bring an end to psychiatric human rights abuse once and for all, CCHR works with lawmakers, like-minded groups, doctors, and others to bring about protections for patients and to clean up the field of mental health. Such as in Europe, where the European Medicines Agencies slapped antidepressants with suicide warning labels for children and youths. South Africa, where their government has warned elderly citizens considering taking antipsychotics about the risk of stroke and heart attack. And the United States and Mexico, where thanks to CCHR's efforts in promoting the Child Medication Safety Act, parents can no longer be coerced to give their children psychotropic drugs as a requirement for them to stay in school. All told, it's better than 150 laws and more than twice that many official drug warnings, forever safeguarding the public from the dangers of the psychiatric industry. Today, CCHR has over 250 chapters in 30 countries across the world. Its international headquarters in Los Angeles, California, serves as a public information clearinghouse, documenting psychiatry's invasive and harmful practices, and publishing its findings in some 17 languages. More than 12 million copies of their publications have been distributed to healthcare professionals, government officials, educators, and business leaders around the world. CCHR's headquarters is also the site of the world-renowned museum, Psychiatry, an Industry of Death. Centered around 14 documentary films, the exhibition presents the history of psychiatry, from its origins and practice of putting the mentally ill in cages, to the present-day mass drugging of society as the cure for invented mental disorders. This state-of-the-art exhibit has attracted tens of thousands of visitors from all over the world. CCHR further sponsors a fleet of Industry of Death traveling exhibits, visiting scores of cities worldwide. These have revealed the truth about psychiatric abuse to hundreds of thousands more. From New York to Brussels, Prague and Berlin, and from Moscow to Melbourne and Tokyo. While to reach still more with the truth, CCHR has produced a series of award-winning documentaries exposing the abuse and deceit behind psychiatry's pseudo-scientific facade. CCHR also provides an educator's kit that includes a guide with which to hold seminars based around the documentary Marketing of Madness. It also contains sets of the Psychotropic Drug Series booklets, The Facts About the Effects, which outline common side effects of psychotropic drugs, as well as available treatment alternatives. All told, CCHR documentaries and public service announcements have appeared in print, on the airwaves, and across the internet, informing millions with the facts about psychiatry and psychotropic drugs. Wherever human rights are abused by mental health treatment, CCHR is there, blowing the whistle on psychiatric crime, establishing protections for those in distress, and educating the public on the truth behind and alternatives to the unworkable and dangerous practices of psychiatry. Thousands from every faith and walk of life have joined CCHR to defend human rights against psychiatric abuse. It is a fight that will continue until psychiatry's abusive and coercive practices cease, and human rights and dignity are returned to all.